today we're finally getting back on the mule ski. We're going to be rebuilding the, I've already rebuilt the master cylinder. We're going to be rebuilding the calipers because the brakes wasn't working pretty much at all last time. We're going to put new brake lines on it, and we're also going to pull off every single axle and chain, put new bearings and chains on this thing, and finally get this thing worth a ride. And we're going to build a new roll cage while it's in the garage as well. So let's get to it. We got to pull it in with the mule because we have no brakes. Yeah, the thing's been getting rained in. We covered the engine, but
it's pouring like out of the axle.
Yeah, there's a ton of water in the thing. Enough for me.
That worked.
Alright. If we need to get the back end, we can jack it up and kind of push it off the jack, you know, make it blunt. Yeah. Alright, now we have to clean out this whole thing because we never cleaned it out from when we originally got it. This is a rear floor pan. This is the firewall. This is the hood. And there's all the chains. A lot of them. So now basically we have to take off, we'll start with taking off these two chains and pulling out the back 4 axles. And, well, no, we'll have to take off all of them, yeah. Ugh. The ones that's going to suck is going to be the front chains under, because we're probably going to have to pull the engine out to do that. That's pretty handy how the seat went in there. I wish I had all those. We're going to take off the back tires, put jack stands under 2 of the rear axles, set it down, then we're going to jack up the front and set the axles on jack stands. Then we're going to try to put the motorcycle lift under it and jack up the whole thing. It's 1,000-pound rating, so let's hope this thing don't weigh more than 1,000 pounds.
It should work.
Yeah. If it's 1,000 pounds rating, that means it'll hold 1,800 pounds.
Hopefully.
I've already taken this side off, and this is how bad the bearings was. I mean, this is not bolted up anymore, but still there was like inches of play. That's why the guy traded in. He didn't want to put all new bearings, and the shop wouldn't do it. So we're going to do all new bearings, soak the chains. Chains are good. They're really heavy, super heavy chain.
What is it?
The axle or the bearing plate, bearing hanger is warped up where Go Power Sports got all of our bearings for this, and I'm sure that was a pretty penny because there were 16 of them. That should be good.
Oh, where's pulling out again?
Do a little more.
There you go.
Good?
Yeah.
Let that water soak out. I actually want to turn the shop back on because it runs in the corner. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Oh, my head.
The guy, whoever made this, used a door hinge. They cut the side of a door hinge off for their plate. That's using your thinking cap. But they didn't think about only 4 bolts hold this, 4 5/16 bolts hold this whole roll cage on. Hey.
Seems safe.
We got some weight to it. Lay it on its back.
Alright. Let it go.
Built good.
Yeah. Kid's got a jungle gym.
Yeah.
Oh, Grayson will love that.
That's playground equipment right there. Saving money all the time. Oh, something else is good. Oh, the grounds. Right. So I have one main ground strip. Second part to the kids' jungle gym. The big alligator. Set sideways across this. Guys, come and hang out with me and Miss Redbeard at FabTech in Chicago, Illinois on November 11th through the 14th. We'll be at the Quantum booth, so you can come check out the weld tables that we use and the awesome people that own Quantum and support our channel. Make sure to register before November 8th because it's free. If you register after that, you do have to pay. Come hang out with us, check out the weld tables, and have a good time. We'll see you there. Start looking how to get all this junk out. Good fun. Look at all these ants. They had a massive ant's nest. We vacuumed both of them up. Ah, good stuff.
So much stuff.
Yeah, hope we remember how to put this thing back together. So now we're going to take out, start taking out this engine. We got to unhook the throttle cable. I want to keep this, oops, that's a 10 for sure. Alright, choke's unhooked. And we will probably be using a cherry picker on this engine, just because I don't give Daniel insurance.
Yeah.
I can't afford for him to die on the job.
Back problems ain't no joke.
Cool. Oh, she'll come for sure. Okay. Here's that mama. Look at that belt, son. Still in really good shape though. Belt hasn't. Like the Deuce was a like 25-year-old belt, and we beat on that thing with 35 horsepower. Never even sheared it any. That's pretty sweet. Okay, so back to the drawing board. There's actually, we knew there was bolts, of course, holding the engine to this setup, but we thought we could slide that big 3/4 inch bolt out, but guess what? We can't. Ooh, buddy. Look at that. Go ahead and jack her. Yeah, pull it back some. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to try to get this sprocket to move. It's moving a little bit on here. It's just like a splined shaft. Try to hit this. Maybe that. See that bearing grease is just ate up like crazy. It's moving. Alright, so I just spun it and the chain popped off, which is a good thing. Pop it off that one. Now we can spin this thing around. Well, maybe. Try to find the master link. This chain's 977 years old. Alright, so I was I got this chain off by rolling it off the sprocket, and then I found that it had a set screw in it. A little set screw was in there, so pulled that out. Now this moves. So I mean, boy, we just got to do this 277 more times. Is those bearings going to clear that? Yeah. Yeah. Alright. There's that sprocket. And there's the chewed up axle. Look at that thing. And that's the old bearing grease from where it just beat itself apart. So now you got to knock this off. We're going to soak all this in some good degreaser. And this one's pretty much mauled up, which sucks, so I'm going to have to find, and I don't know if any of the other ones are either. She's actually moving. I'm glad someone kept this thing greased. No bearing grease. Alright, one off, 7,000 more to go. Alright, so the Argo has actually been sitting in the garage, tore down for like 3 months. And the reason for this is, if you remember that axle I showed you guys at the first of the video, that was basically the bearing had busted off and it wore like a 1/4 inch deep groove all the way around the axle. Well, instead of replacing it, I just wanted to weld that groove up and then have the machine shop turn it down. There's where it beat up the bearing flange. Now, if anybody knows where to get this bearing flange, I found similar ones, but are not the same part number. This one's 605-68. 605-68. If anybody out there has some of these, I would love to buy them. I got to buy basically 8 seals and then replace that bearing flange, and then we'll be good to go. Go Power Sports got us all of our axle bearings. Things are about 40 bucks a piece, so huge shout out to Go Power Sports for helping out this build, because it is extremely expensive doing stuff like this. So the reason why this thing's been in here for 3 months is there's the axle finish. The bearing fits on that really smooth, so that's where we welded it. And Sweetwater Machine Shop turned this down for us, so huge shout out to them. They've been a big help for this channel here lately. And I dropped that axle off at a friend's house who has a lathe and stuff. He's done a lot of machine work for me. He has a plasma table. We always had a real good relationship, and I dropped that thing off and it sat at his house for 3 months. He would not answer my phone calls, would not answer my text, and I just kept telling him I wanted the axle back. I'm not going to name any names, but it was really crappy for him to do that because this thing's been stuck in here. I couldn't find a replacement axle that was, you know, worth buying. A lot of them was in bad shape that I found. So so now we can finally get this Argo put back together. Next video, we're going to drain the diff oil, rebuild the master cylinders. We're going to soak all those chains and bearing flanges in some diesel or something that'll break down all that grease off of them, because we're going to reuse all the chain, and we'll start putting the axles back in. So it's going to be a long build, but this thing is going to be awesome when we're done with it, and we can't wait to test it on water. That's our goal, is to see if she'll float. So make sure to comment down below if you think it will float. We're putting all new seals on everything, trying to get it to be sealed as possible. So let us know what you think about this build. What engine should we put on it? Should we put that engine back on it that came off of it? Because those engines are really good and reliable. You can't get a lot more performance in the future out of them, which I wouldn't do that on this build. Or should we put something crazy on this thing? The goal is, when we're done with this, we're going to sell it. This is not something we're going to keep. So I don't want to put too much money, like too crazy of an engine that's going to be useless for the next person. So let us know. We do have a 440 two-stroke snowmobile engine that's a twin cylinder, and it makes like 45 horse. Could slap that thing in here and put a two-stroke in her. But let us know. Thank you guys for watching. We love you, and God bless.